Okay guys, so welcome back to another Scrapping Irish video. On this video what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be actually working with Aqua Regia. So what I have is, you'll have seen these in previous videos, so this is a continuation in the series on the mobile phone boards. This is the stuff that was taken off mobile phones. As you see, it's dirty, fairly dirty, but there's gold flakes all over it in there. And again we have more of it here. And if I can open this jar, I'll open it in a second actually, because I'm going to need to do something first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into this jar. So we're going to zero the jar and we'll just see how many grams we have. I can zero it, if it lets me. Okay, it's zeroing it there. So we're going to add these into the jar. I'm trying to not to lose any. I want to be careful because they're very fine dust. We don't lose any of it. It's too valuable to be letting it go. So I'll just shake it up a bit because there was a few clumps blocking it coming out. Rather than you seeing me sit through all or watching me doing this, hit that like button guys. If you're not already a subscriber, subscribe so you can see how these videos turn out and how much gold they end up with at the end. Okay, that's the first part. So we have what, 37 grams in there. Fairly dirty stuff. But the Aqua Regia should clean that up and just dissolve the gold and leave everything else behind hopefully. And then when I drop it, I should just have the gold left. So let me just get this other container opened as well. This one, again, all bits of mobile phones and stuff like that. So we'll just add that to it. So 60, just under 60 grams in total. So if I end up with a gram or two out of it, I'll be very happy. But you never do, you can never tell. Sometimes it might be better, sometimes it might be worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add HCl to this, and I'm going to drop some little bits of nitric in to get the reaction going, and then I'll just let it go, and I'll keep adding nitric as I need to add to it to get it going. Again, I might even half that amount out because it is a lot in there. So we'll just start it anyway. If I need to, I can take some out if I think I have too much in. But if I think it's going to boil over and that, I might put it into 2 jars instead, and we'll have 2 separate ones going, which probably will do actually. It'd be a lot better. So I'll get another jar. I'll split this into 30 grams in each jar. And that way then we can do 2 drops. It'd be nice to have 2 drops instead of 1 drop. 2 for the price of 1. So let me get set up. Okay, so I have separated them into 2 separate jars. So I have about 29 grams in each. And I've got my pipettes, which I'll be using to drop in 3 millilitres, I think it takes at a time in these. Yeah, 3 millilitres of nitric. So I'll only be dropping a small bit in at a time into them. So first thing I'm going to do is cover them both in HCl. So we'll be putting some HCl over it, just enough to cover both. I'll break up that lump that's in there. You can see that bit of a lump, so we'll break that up into a smaller bit. Then we'll cover them in HCl, and then we'll don't want to be wasting any of it, get it off the scales, a bit of dust. Then we'll cover it in HCl, and then we'll add 3 millilitres of nitric, or maybe 1 ml at a time, until we see a reaction. And once we get the reaction going, then I'll leave it, and we'll add again as I need to go on and on. I'll keep adding, and we'll just put it through the process, and then once it's all dissolved, we'll filter it all out, and then we'll do a drop video separately. I like doing drop videos separately. I'll do a section in a playlist where people can just watch the drop videos in future of all different drops for different things, as well as being part of the series. So some people just like myself, I like watching the S&B going in, and I just like watching the gold dust fall to the bottom and dry it out and then weigh it up and see what we have. So let's go back outside and get ready to do the next part. Okay guys, so we're outside now and we're ready to add the HCl to both of these solutions, and then we'll be adding the nitric. So I'm just going to put the HCl, gloves are on again. So I'm just putting enough in to cover both. So again, that'll be washed out. Now we have our nitric in here, and we have our little pipette. So we're just going to add, this one has 2 ml. So all I'm going to do is add 2 ml to start the solution to both of them. So I've added the 2 ml there to both, and we've got a little bit of a reaction starting. So we'll leave that for a while until the reaction builds up, or if we need to add more to get the reaction going quicker, we'll do that. It's a bit hard to see with the light, but should be able to see a bit of a day working at the moment. So the nitric is doing its little work. So we'll let that work away and we'll come back in a while. Okay guys, so it's been about 3 or 4 hours since I put the pins, or the gold foils and dirt from the mobile phones into the Aqua Regia, and it's just working away nicely. Still a lot to be dissolved. You can still see a lot of gold flakes in there, so it's just a matter of shaking it up every so often, add it to the heat, get it working again, and maybe add a bit more nitric and let it work away. But eventually all the foils will be dissolved and we'll be just left with anything that can't be dissolved, like bits of the board and bits of debris, dirt, stuff like that, that can't be dissolved, plastics, all that, and the rest of it will be dissolved in solution, and we can put it through the filter, drop it and re-refine it again. That'll be the plan anyhow. So I'll let that run for a few days and we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, so this is the mobile phone board foils and stuff like that I took from the mobile phone boards. You can see them in here. I've been sitting in the Aqua Regia for a couple of days now, and it seems to have dissolved most of the gold from what I can see, but I'm running out of space in the jar for adding nitric and I don't want it to boil over and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decant it into another jar, some of it from each one, and then add a bit more nitric and just leave it another day or two and just make sure everything is dissolved before we do the filtering and the drop. So I'm going to just stick my mask on, because I know as soon as I open these lids we're going to get a lot of fumes from the process. I had to come inside because it's raining outside, so I've come in to do this in the shed. So I'm just putting on the mask. I just need to get my gloves as well, sorted properly. So I hope you're enjoying the videos. This is let's see, I'm dealing with highly dangerous acids, so the mask is on when I'm indoors, and when I'm outdoors, depending on if there's a breeze blowing the wrong direction or anything, I'd also have the mask on. Okay, so all I'm going to do is open this up, decant it off a bit from each jar into this jar. And we're going to get a closer look at it as it's going in. That's enough from that jar. So
and a bit from this jar. So there's a lot of dirt and stuff, as we've seen, because I started off with. Okay, so we have them done. I'm just going to get a bit of nitric, and I'm going to add a couple of drops of nitric. So, a little dropper. So I'm going to add, so this will take, okay, just a couple of little drops to get it going into each one. And I'll get a little bit of heat under them to help speed up the process a bit. Okay, so I don't see any reaction yet, but usually when you add the heat is when you get the reaction. So I don't want to have too much nitric in there in case it, just a little drop more each. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to get these onto a little bit of heat, very low, just to warm, because it's not a warm day today, so it's just to get a little bit of heat on it, just to get the process going. And if need be, I can add a bit more hydrochloric acid or a bit more nitric, whatever I think I need to add for the process, and then we can do our drop and filter it out. There will be a lot of dirt and stuff in this, because you can see in the bottom of the jars there is a lot of stuff. So I'll just get a little plastic spoon and we'll stir that up, actually, in case there's any foils underneath that, bits of board and stuff that has settled. So I just stir it up, and that way then the nitric can make contact with everything, and there might be little bits of board and there might be gold foils underneath it. And the new one, which was decanted, which the original, sorry, that's the new one in the middle. This is one of the original ones, so I just stir it up, get the washer to wash the spoon. I don't want to have miss out any gold, so you can see like on the spoon it's like a goldy colour, a yellowy colour, so hopefully that's a good sign. So you can see the bits of board, stuff like that, that's floating around in here. Okay, so that's it, guys. We'll come back in a few days and see how that progressed. If anything changes that I need to show you, I'll come back on and show you, but I'd say the next time we'll be looking at it, we'll be doing a filtration, and then hopefully after that we'll be doing a drop, and then we'll do a re-refine, and then we'll do a drop, and we'll see how we end up with at the end from these boards. So check it out, guys, see how I got on.
Okay guys, so welcome back again. So these are the mobile phone board foils and bits of gold that I was collecting up, so I'm ready to filter them off. I'm sure there's still going to need to be some more dissolved in, but for this part I'm going to filter these off and see how we got all the gold that was in these. We'll see what's in the foil, or see what's in the filters afterwards, and see does I need to reprocess them again. So I'm going to put my mask on because there will be a bit of a smell from these, or fumes. So I'll just stick on the mask. Again, I could have done this actually outside today because it's not raining, but I have decided to do it in here. So we'll start with the smallest one, which is this one here, I think, or this one here. So we're just going to filter it off and see how we dissolved all the gold that was in there, or does it still, all the foils, or does it still need to be redone again. So just let that filter for a second. I'll just set the filter up correctly because it has moved a bit. I still haven't got the proper filters. I ran out of my usual filters, so I've had to use these ones instead, and I'm not 100% happy with them, but
Okay, we'll let that filter away. And we can see in here, this is all the bits of the board. I think we've got most of the gold out of it. And we're just left with the stuff that wouldn't dissolve any further, but we'll make sure we have by checking it fully. So we'll let that work away. We'll let it just drip down into here, and hopefully we'll end up with a nice colour like what I have back here. If you can see, this is from, I still haven't done the drop on it yet. You've probably already seen the video, but you haven't seen me do the drop on this yet. So maybe I'll have it done before this one comes out, or maybe I'll just leave it and do a few drops together, drop videos together. We wait and see. But I'm hoping for a nice colour like that one in the background. As it fills up, I'll decant this into a bigger jar, and then I'll refilter and refilter. So till I get as much of the stuff out as possible, make sure I've got all the gold. So, and we'll do a test at the end to make sure there is gold in the liquid. So check back in after a while, guys, and we'll see how we get on. Okay guys, so I have filtered it now to see, after I filter the mobile phone boards, that's what I'm left with. Still filtering away a bit more in the background as well. And I also just want to take out the other one to show you the difference in the colour. So you can see there the difference in the actual colour between the time I'd done the RAM foils, and this is the mobile phone board one. So again, I'm just going to do the stainless test on it. So we're just going to take a little drop on the Q-tip, and I'm just going to, just here in front of the camera, we're just going to do a little test by dropping a little bit of stainless on it and see, does it go black? Yeah, so again we have an instant discolor for a lot of precious metal, which is good that we have that reaction. So it has definitely has precious metals in it. By the colour it's gone a very black colour, browny sort of black muddy colour. So there's definitely going to be some precious metal in there. So again, that's a nice one to find. So we'll let that back over there with the other Q-tip. So that's good find. So what I'll do is I'll evaporate some of that to bring it down a bit, because I don't want too big of a load. And we'll do a drop on that in another video. So same as when we do the drop on this video, I'll do that video, and I'll be doing a couple of drops on different stuff that I'm working on. So thanks guys for watching. Give a like, give a share, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and leave a comment if you wish to. And catch you on the next one, guys, and keep looking for that gold, guys. We're getting closer and closer to seeing that gold, so let's get there together.